Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Cabinet Committee on Security meets at the Prime Minister's residence in Delhi. Pahalgam review on agenda. Prime Minister Modi also chairs key cabinet meetings. Federal investigators gather more evidence in Pahalgam attack. Donald Trump says tariff talks with India are going great. He expects a US-India trade deal soon. Trump celebrates 100 days in office with a rally in Michigan. Hails his achievements, blasts foes in campaign style. Tensions escalate in South China Sea. China conducts naval patrols, accuses the Philippines of causing disturbances. The big story this afternoon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired key cabinet committee on security today. Earlier, the CCS met last on 23rd of April to review the overall security situation in the country following the Pahalgam terror attack. The meeting, chaired by Prime Minister Modi, had condemned the 22nd April Pahalgam attack in the strongest terms and expressed deepest condolences to the families of the victims and hope for early recovery of the injured. That was in the last meeting. In this meeting, the Prime Minister, the CCS, the Cabinet Committee on Security, is believed to have discussed the probe into the Pahalgam attack, which the Prime Minister had promised to bring the perpetrators and their backers to justice. So the probe into the attack, also the Indian response to it. India has already given diplomatic responses by putting the IWT or the Indus Water Treaties in abeyance. According to sources, a meeting of the Political Affairs Committee was also held under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Modi. A meeting of the Union Cabinet also followed later. Key decisions are said to have been taken in the meeting. We'll get to know those decisions once in a little while from now. The Cabinet, the spokesperson will be briefing on the major decisions taken in the Cabinet's meeting. Wednesday's cabinet panel meetings come a day after a high-level meeting was convened by the Prime Minister at his residence in New Delhi on Tuesday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, CDS or the Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and the chiefs of the three defence services also attended the meeting yesterday. The high-level meeting was held to review the security preparedness and of the defence forces following the Pahalgam attack. The military in that meeting, in yesterday's meeting, seems to have been given a free hand to give appropriate response to the situation as and when and how it develops. Meanwhile, India has intensified the probe into the Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 people, mainly tourists, were killed on the 22nd of April. The National Investigation Agency, which is the key central agency probing the terror attack, has recreated the crime scene and is meticulously gathering evidence from every corner. They are also examining the past contacts of the mule operators to determine if there is any involvement or previous criminal activities or any kind of local support that the attackers received. Meanwhile, security has been tightened in the Kashmir Valley as a precautionary measure. Checkposts have been set up at important tourist locations in Srinagar. Vehicles are being checked thoroughly and details of the vehicle owners are being registered by the CRPF and the Jammu and Kashmir Police. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo brings you more in this ground report from Srinagar.
I'm here at the Dal Lake in Srinagar, and there you can see security has been beefed. People are being questioned. All vehicles are being checked properly. Their verification is being done here. There you see the details are being registered on the register. This is the increased security in Srinagar. They are taking all care. It is the CRPF and the Jammu and Kashmir police, the armed police from the CRPF. They are manning the different locations here in Srinagar because the safety and security of the tourists and the place is the utmost requirement of the time. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
And another incident of ceasefire violation was reported across the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. My colleague Vishal Baristo is joining us for more. Vishal, first of all, give us a sense of what is happening on the ground in terms of, we saw your report about how, they've set up barricades, they're checking vehicles, etc. In terms of the precautionary measures being taken in the valley.
Well, absolutely. A very good afternoon to you, Amritpal. Things have, heightened here. The increased security in the valley and at important locations. Meanwhile, my sources in the NIA and Jammu and Kashmir police informed me that so far 2,200 people, 2,200 have been interrogated so far to find out about the larger network. This includes the overground workers, and 500 alone have been interrogated in Srinagar, of which 1,200 have been detained for further investigation and interrogation. The zipline operator Muzammil is also under the custody of NIA, though his family members plead he is not guilty, but NIA is not taking any chances. They are going through every minute detail. Meanwhile, let me also tell you that in Sopore, another terrorist who is linked to the Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, I beg your pardon, his property has also been attached under UAPA, and his name is Imtiaz Ali Kundu. So these are the preventive measures, these are the security measures taken by the Jammu and Kashmir police and also by the NIA. So Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist property has been attached and the investigation continues. Meanwhile, tourism continues to be there. Both the local and the international tourists, they are reaching here in Srinagar. Pahalgam is also open, though because of security reasons, 48 destinations that are distant destinations have been closed down by the Jammu and Kashmir government. This is the precautionary measure that has been taken. These 48 destinations are out of 87, I beg your pardon, tourist destinations in Jammu and Kashmir. Amritpal?
So Vishal, you're saying that the tourist numbers have come down, but tourists are still trickling in. It's not as if like the tourists have completely vanished from the valley.
Well, absolutely. There is no shutdown of tourism. Only because of the precautionary measures this step has been taken. Because remember, places like Doodh Patri, these are distant locations. They can also serve as possible hideouts of the retrieving terrorists or for the overground workers, or they can also pose threat to the tourists because those are distant locations. So the government has taken this step, but no closure of tourism here. People are coming. Today we spoke to a group of militians who visited Srinagar.
Got it. Okay, Vishal, that's about the hinterland. Give us a sense of what's happening on the borders, on the LOC.
Well, the border is very tense, Amrit, to be very honest, especially in the Uri sector and the villages along with the LOC. They are very tense. People are quite scared because they know that action is on the card on behalf of India, because yesterday Prime Minister held a very high-level meeting in which all the three chiefs of Army, Navy and Air Force, along with the NIA chief and the Chief of Defence Staff were present, and the Prime Minister has given clear instruction as to what needs to be done. So the people on the both sides of the border, and on the other side in Pakistan, they are already preparing for the worst to come. They are also cleaning their bunkers according to foreign media reports. Meanwhile, at the Uri sector, people are also preparing their own bunkers for their own safety, because there is heavy shelling expected when the action starts. So Uri is under the scanner both for the Indian Army and also for the security forces.
All right, Vaishal, we leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us with these updates. Okay, as I was saying earlier, another incident of ceasefire violation was reported across the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir on the intervening night of 29th and 30th. That's basically last night. Pakistan Army posts initiated unprovoked small arms fire across the line of control opposite the Naushera, Sundarbani and Akhnur sectors in Jammu and Kashmir. The unprovoked small arms firing by Pakistan Army was also reported from the posts across the LOC in Baramulla and Kupwara districts, as well as across the IB or the international border in the Pargwal sector. In response to these provocations, the Indian Army acted with restraint and effectiveness, ensuring the safety and security of its positions along the LOC. Meanwhile, the process of deporting Pakistani citizens began at the Atari border on Wednesday. The deportation process started at 10 a.m. in line with the Union government's decision in the wake of the terror attack in Pahalgam. While police vehicles brought some Pakistani citizens living in Jammu and Kashmir to the Atari border, many Pakistani citizens reached the border themselves due to the fear of legal action. The validity of short-term visas for Pakistan nationals has already expired on Sunday. The medical visas category expired last evening. The Indian government revoked all categories of visas issued to Pakistani citizens except for the long-term visas, the diplomatic and official visas, with immediate effect from the 27th of April, and the medical visas, as I said, expired last evening or yesterday. And my colleague Gurmeet Singh now joins us from the Atari-Wagah border. Gurmeet, give us a sense of what is happening at the border today, because the medical visas category deadline expired last evening. Other visa categories, except for, say, long-term and diplomatic official who don't need to go back, all other visas deadlines have expired. So what is transpiring at the border now?
Amrit, as our viewers know, as you have already conveyed, that the all visa holders and specifically the Pakistani nationals were required to leave the country by 29th of April. That deadline has already expired. Today on 30th April, it was expected that no one would turn up to the Atari border because the deadline has expired. But today we are witnessing a different kind of picture. I would like to show you the visuals over here. A lot of Pakistani nationals have reached here to clear their immigration. And the very first thing that we have noticed, that the deportation process has started, and Jammu Kashmir police has reached here with lot of Pakistani nationals from Jammu region and Kashmir region, and they are brought in here to deport at the integrated checkpost Atari border. I would like to show you the visuals of integrated checkpost. You can see a lot of vehicles are lined up over here, and even beyond this, inside the integrated checkpost, there are a lot of vehicles and people are already inside the ICP who are getting their immigration done, and after that they would enter to the Pakistani side.
But Gurmeet,
one different picture that we have witnessed.
Gurmeet, I was asking you, so if the deadline expired last evening, who are these guys? These guys couldn't go back yesterday. So are the Indian authorities letting them go today, or are they initiating some kind of legal action, or are they saying, "Theek hai, you haven't gone yesterday, go today"?
Amrit, the real thing is that most of these people, we have talked to them in the morning time when they were here. So most of them did not want to leave the country. They were saying that if any legal action is to be taken, so that can be taken. But we do not want to cross the border to Pakistan.
Why?
So that was their intention.
Why,
keeping that in mind, because they most of these people are married here, so due to that reason only they are saying that they are married here, don't have Indian passport, but their family now is in India, so they should be allowed to live over here. So those were the reasons that they were posing and giving at in front of media and specifically told to us. So right now such cases are in big number and they are even pleading it in front of immigration authorities, but there is no spare for anyone. Certainly the directions which are issued by union government are being followed in letter and spirit, and right now we are witnessing a lot of, and this is minded, this is about 2 p.m. and earlier what used to happen since 24th of April, we are seeing that by 2 p.m. all the Pakistani nationals, they used to get their immigration done on the Indian side and they would enter towards the Pakistani side. But right now there are a lot of Pakistani nationals which are still being deported or they are getting their immigration done at this point in time. So you can imagine the number of the Pakistani nationals which are being deported or getting immigration done is quite large in comparison to the last few days.
Acha. So then, Gurmeet, what time do the gates close, and are they do they plan to extend the deadline for closing the gates? Till what time do these guys go on the crossover?
Amrit, the immigration counters at integrated checkpost opens up at 10 a.m. in the morning and works till 4 p.m. in the evening. So as per the input that we are getting in at this point in time is that there may be a relaxation for another 1 day, 24 hours, that we have already announced and told our viewers yesterday and day before yesterday that there may be a relaxation of 48 hours to the people who want to cross over the border or will be deported from integrated checkpost after 29th of April. So it may be expected that this deportation process will continue by
till
1st
tomorrow.
of May.
Okay, till tomorrow. Okay, great, Gurmeet. You're doing a good job reporting from there. Thank you very much for joining us from the Atari-Wagah border. And a two-day meeting of the foreign ministers of BRICS countries concluded in the historic center of Rio de Janeiro on Tuesday. The Indian delegation was led by Dammu Ravi. He's the Secretary Economic Affairs in the Ministry of External Affairs. He attended the meeting along with the Indian ambassador to Brazil, Suresh Reddy. DD India correspondent Shobhan Saxena spoke to the head of the Indian delegation, Dammu Ravi, about the meeting and what was discussed there.
Well, Dr. Jaishankar could not come because of the domestic developments on the domestic front, but I filled in for him. And I must say that Brazilian has really worked hard to make this very successful. And this is the first time that the foreign ministers of all the partner countries have met. Unfortunate that a declaration could not come out because of the diversity and there were difference of views. But we are hopeful that closer to the leaders summit, those convergence can be formed up, and we will have a successful summit too during the Brazilian chairship of the BRICS. This is happening soon after a more tragic and cowardly terrorist attack in Pahalgam. Most leaders, even before the start of the BRICS foreign ministers meeting, had condemned the act and expressed deepest sympathies for India. And they have condemned also the terrorism in any form, in particular the cross-border terrorism. Now, you must also know that as a topic, as a formal topic in the BRICS was not part of the agenda. So the discussions took place broadly on the themes already set by the Brazilian chairship. But in private and individually, the ministers and the Sherpas expressed their deepest condolences. They came up to me and also to Ambassador, condemning this attack and expressing sympathies for India. So that solidarity was very, very clear. The main point that you asked about the UN reform. Now, in this case, again, as I say, that a large number of countries are bound to have different views or perspectives. Although in principle, everybody agrees that there is a need for reform. But how to approach that? There are differing perspectives, there are nuances. But again, BRICS is with expanded group, it's very new. So we'll have to convene again, deliberate, dialogue, and find consensus and convergence as we move forward. But I think that the first step has been a good progress during the Brazilian chairship. We are confident that closer to the summit and in the days ahead, that we will be able to have a more clearer understanding of how to deal with this issue of reform of the UN UN systems and the UN Security Council.
Still to come up on DD India NewsHour, US chides Russia and Ukraine, says both ceasing mediation efforts without putting concrete proposals on the table, threatens to pull out of the peace process. 3 killed, several injured in a shooting incident in Sweden.
Jhakass ideas deserve a Jhakass stage. World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit. Waves is where vision meets action, tech meets talent, and dreams go global. अब दूसरों की कहानियों पे ताली बजाने का टाइम खत्म, अपनी कहानी लिखने का टाइम आ गया है. One day to go.
Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Amritpal Singh. US President Donald Trump marked the completion of his second term's first 100 days in office on Wednesday. He celebrated with a campaign-style rally in Michigan the day before, where he made key announcements and highlighted what he described as major economic victories. Since the 20th of January, Trump has advanced a sweeping and controversial agenda affecting the economy, immigration, and international trade. Diptanshu Kashyap has more in this report.
As US President Donald Trump completes the first 100 days of his second term, his administration continues to dominate headlines with both executive decisions and sweeping policy changes. Marking the milestone with a rally in Michigan, Trump announced a major military upgrade for the state: the deployment of new Boeing F-15EX fighter jets to the Selfridge Air National Guard base.
As Commander-in-Chief, I'm proud to announce that very soon we will replace the retiring A-10 Warthogs with 21 brand new F-15EX Eagle II fighter jets, the best in the world, fresh off the line. This will keep Selfridge at the cutting edge of Northern American air power.
Amid chants of support, Trump described his first 100 days as the most successful of any US administration, despite growing unease over economic volatility and political polarization. In a speech that echoed his campaign rhetoric, he took aim at his political rivals, calling President Joe Biden sleepy, denouncing the media as fake, and lashing out at judges, Democrats alike.
We cannot allow a handful of communist, radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the President to keep our country safe.
Beyond the rally, Trump has taken swift action in Washington. In just 100 days, he has signed 142 executive orders, 37 of them in the first week alone. He has also revoked over 100 directives, including 78 from the Biden era. Meanwhile, the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency has triggered mass federal restructuring, affecting tens of thousands of employees in a bid to streamline bureaucracy. On immigration, the administration reported a record low of 7,180 southwest border crossings in March. Trump's high-stakes tariff policy has drawn attention, with rates reaching up to 25%, pushing the average effective tariff to a 100-year high of 28%. Inflation, however, has eased slightly, dipping to a 6-month low of 2.4%. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
The United States on Tuesday imposed fresh sanctions on a network operating in Iran and China, accusing it of supplying missile fuel components to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to the U.S. Treasury Department, the network facilitated the transfer of materials from China to Iran that are used in manufacturing of ballistic missile engines. The sanctions target 5 China-based companies, 1 Iran-based firm, and 6 Iranian individuals. This move comes after Trump administration relaunched negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared on Tuesday that the time has come for Ukraine and Russia to present concrete proposals or risk losing the U.S. mediation altogether. U.S. State Department warned that continued inaction could force the United States to step back from the peace efforts. Both Kiev and Moscow claim to support the peace process, yet both remain locked in mutual blame. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a brief three-day ceasefire beginning on the 8th of May for the World War II commemorations, but Ukraine has criticized it as symbolic and demanding a longer and an immediate truce. The U.S. dismissed the temporary halts, calling instead for a full and lasting ceasefire.
I do have something I can tell you that the Secretary said to me. We are now at a time where concrete proposals need to be delivered by the two parties on how to end this conflict. How we proceed from here is a decision that belongs now to the President. If there is not progress, we will step back as mediators in this process.
The Swedish police has said that they have apprehended a suspect following the shooting in which 3 people were killed and others were injured in the city of Uppsala on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the police said that the victims are yet to be identified and declined to speculate on the motive of the killing. The incident happened on the eve of the Walpurgis Spring Festival, which brings large crowds onto the streets of Uppsala. Tensions in South China Sea surged as China's Navy conducted a patrol in the South China Sea on Tuesday, accusing that the Philippines has been creating disturbances and carrying out its own patrols with other countries. The standoff intensifies as both nations assert overlapping sovereignty claims in the contested waters. Over 14,000 U.S. and Filipino troops are engaged in large-scale military drills from the 21st of April to the 9th of May, drawing sharp criticism from Beijing, which labeled the exercises as provocative. The Southern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army declared that its forces are fully prepared to defend national sovereignty and regional peace. The leaders of Japan, the Philippines pledged in Manila to deepen security ties, including increased intelligence sharing as they grapple with territorial disputes with China. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, on his first visit to the Philippines since assuming office in October, said both leaders opposed attempts to change the status quo in the East China Sea and the South China Sea by force or by coercion. The two countries have previously signed a visiting forces agreement, which has been ratified by the Philippines Senate, allowing them to station troops on each other's soil. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. At least 22 people were killed and 3 others injured after a fire broke out at a restaurant in Liaoning City, located in northeast China. In response, the authorities have ordered an urgent investigation into the incident. The Bank of Thailand governor received 10 kilograms of gold donated by devotees of the late monk Luang Ta on Wednesday. Disciples reaffirmed their annual commitment to donate gold to Thailand's national reserves, a practice initiated post-1997 financial crisis. Vietnam is commemorating the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War on Wednesday. The celebrations included Chinese troops for the first time following a visit by Xi Jinping. The fighter jets and helicopters flew overhead, and a float carrying a portrait of the founding leader of the country, Ho Chi Minh, in the city named after him. Still to come up on DD India News Hour, Waves 2025 all set to open tomorrow in Mumbai. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate it. The Char Dham Yatra begins in Uttarakhand.
and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Amrit Pal Singh. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. The Cabinet Committee on Security meets at the Prime Minister's residence in Delhi. A Pahalgam review on agenda. Prime Minister Modi also chairs other key cabinet meetings. Federal investigators gather more evidence into the Pahalgam attack. Donald Trump says tariff talks with India are going great. Expects the US-India trade deal soon. Trump celebrates 100 days in office with a rally in Michigan. Hails his achievements, blasts his force in campaign style. The first ever Waves of World Audio-Visual and Entertainment Summit is all set to open with a grand start at Mumbai's Geo World Convention Centre tomorrow. The event will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the opening day will witness intense panel discussions which are likely to be attended by stars like Amitabh Bachchan and moderated by Akshay Kumar. Not only this, to mark the occasion, a 30-member orchestra will showcase the journey of Indian cinema. An invocation by M.M. Keerwani will also take place. Deepika Mato sends us this report from Mumbai. Take a look.
The stage is all set and India is all set to welcome more than 30 countries from all across the globe, right from leading industry talents to all the stakeholders related to the industry of world audio, visual and entertainment. Waves is all set to open with a grand glitz opening ceremony.
The first ever World Audio, Visual and Entertainment Summit 2025, or WAVES, is all set to open in Mumbai with a grand ceremony witnessing performances by various renowned artists. The event will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Mumbai's Geo World Convention Centre. From a stirring invocation by M.M. Keerwani to a 30-member orchestra showcasing journey into India's cinema and storytelling, the event will open with glitz and glamour. The flagship event, organized by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, aims at bringing together the world's leading media, entertainment and technology giants beginning from May 1st and will conclude on May 4th. The event is all set to be attended by more than 30 countries, film and television personalities, whereas Day 1 will have a high-profile panel discussion titled Legends and Legacies, the stories that shaped India's soul, featuring iconic actors such as Amitabh Bachchan, Hema Malini and more. And the session will be moderated by actor Akshay Kumar.
It's a great initiative, and for India to host an event like that, it's very inspiring for all the youth. It's very inspiring for all the creators. I think it's a great hub to start off with. I think something like for us, I think it's a great opportunity where you can really showcase your talent, and India becomes that hub to nurture it.
The inaugural function will be a showcase of India's culture, tradition and India's growth in the media and entertainment industry, beginning with the help of various segments and pavilions. These include Bharat Pavilion. The Bharat Pavilion is a tribute to India's soul, encapsulating the country's ancient storytelling legacy, offering global audiences a deep dive into India's media. Exhibition Pavilion. The Exhibition Pavilion is a dynamic showcase of imagination meeting innovation. From cutting-edge technology to future-forward trends, it exhibits Indian and global breakthroughs in media and entertainment. Gaming Arcade. The Gaming Arcade is an electrifying hub of immersive gameplay. Waves Bazaar. The Waves Bazaar is a global marketplace for the creator economy that facilitates B2B and B2G collaborations, buyer-seller meets, co-production tie-ups, and the exchange of content rights across formats, from scripts and music to niche content like animation and comics. WaveX. The WaveX is a platform where visionary ideas turn into global ventures through live pitching sessions, funding opportunities, and showcasing innovations in the media and entertainment sector. Creatosphere. Creatosphere is a visionary hub crafted by creators. It is a dynamic stage celebrating imagination and innovation, tradition and technology. Apart from this, the event will also host global media dialogue along with a national gathering on community radio. As the first ever event of its kind, Waves 2025 will promote cultural diversity, innovation, and equitable access to media platforms.
So what are you waiting for? Stay tuned with DD India for all the latest updates from Mumbai as we bring you all the latest information from Waves, world's and India's first audio-visual and entertainment summit that will bring you an array of opportunities and entertainment. With camera person Monty, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Mumbai.
And my colleague Debyendu Mondal now joins us live from Mumbai. The first of its kind summit, Debyendu. What does Waves Summit plan to achieve?
Well, Amit, the summit perhaps is aiming to achieve have a platform for all creators, not just from India, but from across the world, come to a single platform. And, we'll have many global media industries coming into this particular platform from where the talent, which the Indian talent perhaps can reach to the globe, as well as the global talent can come to India, or the media companies and different, personalities who can provide anything related to audio-visual content for India can come to a single platform. It is also being said as, it will create a single platform shopping for content as well as creativity in India. So therefore, this comes as one of the first of its kind, perhaps if not in India, but also across the globe. And therefore, the inauguration tomorrow is being watched by many from across, not just from India, but also from various parts of the world who wants to invest in this particular domain of entertainment and audiovisual entertainment. So therefore, this is, of course, as I said, one of its kind, which will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi tomorrow. It's a 4-day event, which is being hosted by the Ministry of Information Broadcasting at the Geo World Center in Mumbai. And what we are also given to understand is that such a summit will be hosted every year from here on at this particular place of Mumbai, because Mumbai is also being known as the city of the Bollywood as well as the movie industry and the entertainment industry. So therefore, this is an apt location to hold such a conference, and therefore, we'll see a plethora of stars as well as media biggies coming in from tomorrow over the next couple of 3 days to share their input, to deliberate. We'll have some global CEOs from across different companies of these media giants from across the globe coming into Mumbai at this Geo World Center to deliberate on how the media industry and the audiovisual entertainment industry in India can be taken to another level. And of course, all eyes from here on at the Waves Summit here in Mumbai. Amrit.
Debyendu, but it's not just media and entertainment. There's much more: gaming, technology, creator economy here. So they put all that together to create probably a marketplace also.
Well, absolutely. As you rightly said, it's not just about entertainment and media. It's also about gaming. So we'll have different, we'll also have these gaming challenges that will begin from tomorrow. I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be witness to one of these gaming challenges here at Geo World Center. And this is also giving space to the gaming industry, which is growing at a very, which is growing at a very fast pace. So therefore, this industry is also being tapped into through this particular Wave Summit, and therefore, as you said, the gaming industry as well as the use of artificial intelligence in the media network and how the audiovisual creativity can also be enhanced or boosted through the use of artificial intelligence. We'll have CEOs from NVIDIA as well as other big tech companies coming in and deliberating on the gaming sector, the audiovisual sector, the entire media sector as a package on how that can be improved, and how AI can come into this particular sector and help it grow further.
All right. Okay, Demendu, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us for the moment from Mumbai. And at least 14 people were killed and several others suffered burn injuries after a massive fire gripped a hotel in East India's Kolkata on Tuesday night. The fire broke out around 8:30 p.m. at a hotel located in Burra Bazar area. One hotel staff member died after jumping from the roof in an attempt to escape the blaze. After the fire was brought under control, firefighters and members of the disaster response team entered the building to search. During this operation, 13 more charred bodies were recovered from different rooms of the hotel. A special team has been formed to look into the incident and further investigation is underway. And President Draupadi Murmu has expressed grief over the fire incident. Sharing a post on X, the President said that the sad news, I quote, the sad news of the loss of lives in the fire accident in a building in Kolkata is very disturbing and painful. My deep condolences to the members of the bereaved family. I pray for the speedy recovery of the injured, unquote. And the Prime Minister has also condoled the loss of lives in the fire mishap and announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees from the PMNRF for the next of kin of each deceased and 50,000 rupees to the next of to the injured. In another tragic incident, at least 7 people lost their lives and 4 others were injured after a 20-foot-long stretch of a makeshift structure collapsed in southern India's Visakhapatnam. The incident happened during the Chandanu Sawam festival at the Sri Varaha Lakshmi Narasimha Swami temple in the early hours on Wednesday. The centuries-old temple was brimming with thousands of pilgrims who had gathered for the annual festival. State and national disaster response force teams are engaged in search and rescue operations. Preliminary reports indicate that the wall collapse in the temple was triggered by soil loosening due to the heavy rains in the area. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives in Visakhapatnam and wished speedy recovery to those injured. He also announced an ex gratia of 200,000 rupees from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund to the next of kin of each deceased, while the injured would be given 50,000 rupees. The auspicious Char Dham Yatra of Uttarakhand began today with the opening of the portals of Gangotri and Yamunotri shrines in the Himalayan town of Uttarkashi this morning. On the occasion, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami offered prayers at the Gangotri temple and extended greetings to devotees. After the Gangotri temple, the Chief Minister visited the Yamunotri shrine, where he also performed rituals and prayed for the well-being of the people. The portals of both sacred temples were opened amid traditional rituals and Vedic chants, marking the holy festival of Akshay Tritiya, considered an auspicious day in the Hindu calendar. Meanwhile, the gates of Kedarnath Dham will open on the 2nd of May, followed by the Badrinath Dham on the 4th of May. In a land where faith echoes through the mountains, the spiritual journey of Char Dham Yatra has begun once again. Revered as one of the most sacred pilgrimages in India, the Char Dham, comprising of Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath, welcomes devotees from across the world to its divine heights. Take a look at this stirring journey in this report.
Nestled high in the Garhwal Himalayas of Uttarakhand, the Char Dham shrines hold immense significance in Hinduism. The Char Dham Yatra is not just a journey of physical endurance, but a spiritual cleansing, believed to grant liberation from the cycle of life and death. The sacred journey traditionally begins on the day of Akshay Tritiya every year. The first dham in this Char Dham Yatra is considered to be Yamunotri, the source of the Yamuna river. The next stop is Gangotri, where the holy Ganga is believed to have descended from heaven onto earth. The third dham, Kedarnath, dedicated to Lord Shiva, stands resilient against the backdrop of snowy peaks. Accessible by a strenuous track or helicopter, Kedarnath holds the promise of immense spiritual merit for those who reach its doors. The pilgrimage concludes at Badrinath, the abode of Lord Vishnu. Adorned with vibrant flags and chants, Badrinath is a symbol of devotion, resilience, and divine grace. Pilgrims must register before undertaking the journey. Online registration can be done through the official Uttarakhand Tourism Portal or the Tourist Care Uttarakhand app. A valid ID, a passport-size photograph, and travel dates are required to generate the essential e-pass. The Char Dham Yatra, though demanding, offers a rare chance to reconnect with nature, devotion, and oneself. For countless believers, this journey is not just a travel, it is transcendence. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And still to come up on DD India News Hour, Trump softens auto tariffs, citing short-term plans to boost US production. Chennai Super Kings will look to salvage pride and momentum as they face Punjab Kings in the 49th match of IPL. And Novak Djokovic withdraws from the Italian Open after losing 3 matches in a row.
Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit as Mumbai hosts the global stage for creativity and innovation. Connecting creators through Creatosphere, where emerging voices rise. Wave Accelerator, where ideas meet global investors. Waves Bazaar, a global marketplace for content. Connecting countries through global media dialogue and industry roundtable. Bharat Pavilion, capturing India's rich history of storytelling.
वेव्स के रूप में भारत एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने जा रहा है जिसमें दुनिया के एंटरटेनमेंट लैंडस्केप पर उसको बदलने की क्षमता होगी.
From culturals to cinema, gaming to animation, fueling the next wave of entertainment. Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Amritpal Singh. US President Donald Trump has said that tariff negotiations with India were coming along great, and he thinks that the two countries could strike a trade deal very soon. Trump made these remarks while speaking to reporters outside the White House on Tuesday.
India's coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India. The Prime Minister, as you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. Thank you.
Trump had levied a 26% reciprocal tariff on India, but later announced a 90-day pause on the duties to discuss trade agreements with several countries. And the US President Donald Trump signed an executive order intended to reduce the economic hit from the multiple overlapping tariffs on automakers. The move means that the automaker would not face both a 25% levy for an imported vehicle and 25% on steel and aluminium, easing the impact of his tariffs on the automotive industry, yielding to weeks of intense lobbying from automakers, parts suppliers and dealers who warned excessive levies could push up car prices, triggering plant shutdowns and job losses. In his latest partial reversal of tariff policies, Trump agreed to give car makers 2 years to boost the percentage of domestic components in vehicles assembled domestically. It will allow them to offset tariffs for the imported auto parts used in the US assembled vehicles equal to 3.7% of the total value of the manufacturer's suggested retail price of vehicles they build in the US through April 2026. and 2.5% of U.S. production through April 30th, 2027. And as we said, Trump softened the blow of his auto tariffs through an executive order by mixing credits with relief from other levies on parts and materials. Joining us for more on how that could affect the European car makers is our DW correspondent Chimponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Hi, Chimponda. So what is changing?
Thanks for having me. Well, the plan by the United States government will reduce tariffs for automakers by not charging them for other duties, such as the ones on steel and aluminum imports into the United States. And auto manufacturers won't have to pay as high tariffs when assembling cars in the U.S. with foreign parts. Now, this is in response to the fact that the auto industry and analysts have said that tariffs could raise consumer prices, reduce sales, and make auto manufacturing in the United States less competitive. Now, it is worth noting that this relief measure was announced during U.S. President Trump's visit to Michigan, and that is a state whose economy heavily relies on the auto industry. But of course, it is also welcome news for European car makers as well.
And how will this affect the car makers, Chimponda?
Well, it is worth mentioning that this move benefits U.S. car makers more than it does the foreign ones. And that is, in particular, the ones that assemble vehicles in the United States with foreign-made auto parts. And these changes are also retroactive, and that means that car makers that have already paid the tariffs that went into effect earlier will be reimbursed for those costs. Now, the additional time will also allow car makers to shift their production and rejig supply chains to allow them to move manufacturing to the United States. Now, obviously, some European car makers may also be breathing a big sigh of relief, especially if they do assemble a significant amount of vehicles in the United States. But those with more assembly plants in Canada and Mexico are not set to benefit as much from the change. And one of the most vulnerable companies in that group is Germany's Volkswagen, which is also Europe's biggest car maker. Only 1 in 5 of the vehicles it sells in the United States is assembled in the country. Now, VW relies heavily on production facilities in Mexico to supply the U.S. market.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Chimponda Chimbelu. Great reporter. I've recently got to know him, but I'm already a fan of him. You should follow him. Okay, time for more sports updates now. With their playoff hopes hanging by a thread, Chennai Super Kings will look to salvage pride and the momentum when they face Punjab Kings in the 49th match of Indian Premier League at Chepauk on Wednesday. The 5-time champions have endured a forgettable season, managing just 2 wins in 9 games to sit at the bottom of the table. Meanwhile, Punjab Kings are better placed at 5th with 5 victories and will be keen to exploit Chennai's vulnerabilities to climb further. Punjab openers Priyan Sharia and Prabh Simran Singh have been solid, while Chennai will bank on Noor Ahmed and Khalil Ahmed to contain them. Chennai's core, which is Ravindra Jadeja, Ashwin and Pathirana, have underperformed and the top order remains unsettled. Now with Marco Jansen, Chahal and Arshdeep firing, Punjab Kings will start as favourites against a demoralised CSK unit. The Olympic Council of Asia has confirmed the inclusion of cricket in the Asian Games 2026 to be held in Japan. The cricket, along with mixed martial arts, are set to be included in the competition. The venue for cricket will be Aichi Prefecture, but the exact location has still not been decided. The inclusion is expected to generate strong interest, especially due to cricket's huge fan following in South Asia. Paris Saint-Germain seized the advantage in its Champions League semi-final against Arsenal as Ousmane Dembele sealed a 1-0 win in the first leg on Tuesday night. Dembele struck in the opening minutes as the Emirates Stadium and Luis Enrique's side had held on to the lead with a composed display that kept Arsenal at bay. PSG will head into the second leg of the semi-final next week as favourites to to reach the final against Barcelona or Inter Milan, as it looks to win the tournament for the first time. Meanwhile, Arsenal's first defeat in 18 home European matches was a painful blow to its own bid to win a first Champions League crown. And Inter Milan is set to face Barcelona on the first leg of the Champions League semi-final on Thursday. Inter Milan trained with coach Simon ahead of their high-stakes encounter on Wednesday. Inter will arrive in Barcelona under difficult circumstances. They've lost 3 straight matches without scoring a goal. Inter excited the Coppa Italia semi-finals at the hands of AC Milan, and 2 consecutive league losses allowed Napoli to take top spot in Serie A. On the other hand, Barcelona are high on confidence after their recent Copa del Rey triumph. 6-time champion Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from this year's Italian Open in a blow to his French Open preparations. Djokovic, who has been chasing a 100th tour-level title, will miss the Masters 1000 event in Rome for the first time since making his first appearance in 2007. The Serbian former world #1 was handed a shock straight sets defeat by Italian Matteo Arnaldi in the second round of the Madrid Open over the weekend. That's it then in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amrit Pal Singh from my entire team here in Delhi. Thank you very much for watching DD India News Hour.